Have you ever looked at a great leader and thought, what's their secret? Well, I'm going to let you in on something. It's not some magic charisma they were born with. Today, we're cracking the management code. We're going to lay out the exact blueprint that separates the truly great leaders from, well, everyone else. So let me ask you this. What's the real difference between a business that's absolutely crushing it and one that's just kind of stuck? Just spinning its wheels? It's not always the product, and it's definitely not just the initial idea. It really boils down to one single, incredibly powerful factor. You guessed it, it's great management. Sounds simple, right? But hold on, what does that actually mean day to day? See, it's not some mysterious art form. It's a system. And today, we're basically handing you the playbook for that system. All right, first up, let's talk about the manager's core playbook. I want you to think of these as the 4 fundamental moves that every, and I mean every effective manager makes, whether they realize it or not. Getting these down is step 1. And this playbook, it's all built on something called the POLC management cycle. That's planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Now, this isn't some checklist you just tick off once. Nope, it's a continuous loop, always in motion. If you mess up one part, the whole system starts to wobble. Let's break each one down. Everything, and I mean everything, kicks off with planning. This is your roadmap. It's the part where you decide what winning actually looks like, and then figure out the best way to get there. Because let's be honest, a team without a plan isn't really a team. It's just a group of people reacting to whatever chaos comes their way. Okay, so you've got your map. Now it's time to organize. This is all about building the engine for your trip. You're structuring the work, matching the right tasks to the right people, and making sure everyone has the resources they need. It's that classic idea of getting the right people in the right seats on the bus, all facing forward. Next up is leading. Look, you can have the most brilliant plan and a perfectly organized team, but they're basically useless until a leader provides the spark. This is the human part of the equation. It's about inspiring people, motivating them, and turning that static plan into real, dynamic action. And finally, we have controlling. Now listen, this word gets a bad rap. This is not about micromanagement. Think of it as your quality control system. Are we actually on track to get where we said we were going? You monitor performance against that original plan, and you make small adjustments along the way. This feedback loop is what makes the whole POLC cycle work and improve over time. So that's the playbook. But how do you actually run those plays out in the real world? On a random Tuesday when things get messy? Well, it all comes down to wearing 3 very different hats. And sometimes you have to wear all 3 in the same day. A manager's job is just a constant balancing act. A researcher named Henry Mintzberg actually broke this down into 3 key roles or hats. Sometimes you're wearing the interpersonal hat, being a figurehead, connecting people. Other times, you're the informational hub, like the nerve center for your team, making sure info flows correctly. And maybe most importantly, you wear the decisional hat, where you have to make the tough calls, handle problems, and negotiate. Okay, so you've got the playbook and you know which hats you need to wear. But what skills do you actually need in your toolkit to pull all of this off? That brings us to the final piece of our blueprint. Your toolkit really needs 3 core skills. Now, for your frontline managers, those technical skills, knowing the nuts and bolts of the job, are absolutely critical. For the top executives, it shifts. It's all about conceptual skills, being able to see the entire organization, the whole big picture. But the one constant, the skill that is completely non-negotiable at every single level, human skills. That is the universal key to leadership, period. All right, let's bring this all home. We've gone through the playbook, we've talked about the hats, and we've looked at the toolkit. Let's put it all together now and see how these pieces combine to create a leader who really truly makes an impact. So here it is, the blueprint in its simplest form, the playbook that gives you your strategy, the hats, they show you how to execute that strategy day to day, and the toolkit, well, that gives you the core skills to make it all happen. It's the combination of these 3 things that creates real leadership. And the big takeaway is really simple. When you master these frameworks, your role completely transforms. You stop just being someone who oversees tasks, and you start becoming someone who builds a vision, empowers people, and drives actual results. You're not just a manager anymore, you become an impactful leader. So there you have it, the code to great management all laid out. And we want to leave you with a question to think about. Of those 3 core skills, technical, human, and conceptual, which one do you think is the absolute hardest to master, and why? Let us know what you think.
Thanks for digging into this with us.